Okay, so this is part 2 of the 102 syllabus for summer 2021. I'm gonna Miss Companion. So we stopped at disability support services statement, and most of these things on this page and a half here you've probably seen before, so I'm gonna try to skim through them pretty quickly. Disability support services statement: if you have a documented disability and you need academic adjustments or accommodations, please speak with DSS and me as soon as possible. All discussions will remain confidential, and if you need to contact DSS, the contact information is at the bottom of that first paragraph under that heading. If you suspect that you have some sort of disability but you're not diagnosed, you can feel free to let me know. I fully understand that sometimes you need the help, but you just don't have the piece of paper yet. I was there myself when I was a student. So if you need some sort of, academic accommodation, even if you don't have that sheet of paper, let me know. I'll do what I can. So just send me an email and, or ask for a Teams meeting, and we'll talk about it, and I'll see what I can do. If you are with the military, let me know. If you have, any chance of being called to service or training, try to make sure I know ahead of time so that I can plan around it. Title IX is our sex discrimination statement, which basically says that any type of sexual discrimination, including on the basis of sex, sexual misconduct, harassment, domestic violence, stalking, or anything like that, can interfere with a student's ability to learn. And if you experience that, or if you see it, please let me or our Title IX coordinator or UPD know as soon as possible. Academic honesty is our policy related to turning in your own work and avoiding plagiarism. And this one is worth kind of going over in a little bit more detail because a lot of students do struggle with this, and especially when we start bringing research into it, it can be a little harder to navigate. So true knowledge can only be gained through honest means, and academic dishonesty of any kind is expressly prohibited. This policy is applicable for all types of learning at JSU, and students who violate this policy can be subject to disciplinary actions, which can range from a 0 on an assignment to failure in the course, and repeated offenses can lead to expulsion from the university. Violations include, but are not limited to, the use of unauthorized materials or the receipt of unauthorized assistance, copy or utilizing information from a paper of another student, rendering unauthorized assistance to another student, illegally obtaining or attempting to obtain unauthorized knowledge prior to an examination, selling or giving another student unauthorized copies of a test, the use of commercially prepared term papers or research projects, or the submission of a paper completed by anyone other than you, falsifying class attendance or reasons why you didn't attend a class, taking an exam in case of another student, unauthorized collaboration, plagiarism, which is the deliberate act of copying, writing, or presenting as one's own the information, ideas, or phrasing of another person, or making use of computing facilities in a dishonest way. The biggest things to watch out for here, if you look online for something, don't use that in your paper unless it's for the final research project. The only assignment that's going to actually require any research is that final one. So the others, you don't need to worry about that. If you kind of look around, I really, really, really want you to give me your own ideas. I don't want you to, look on SparkNotes or find someone else's. But if for whatever reason you feel the need to maybe clarify a plot summary or something, make sure that the information that you're giving me is not overlapping too closely with what you have online. And it's really hard to do. When you read something online, your brain automatically codes it in those words, and when you just type the phrasing as you saw it online, you accidentally plagiarize. So don't do it. Try to avoid going online and looking things up if you can. If you buy a paper online, that is plagiarism. And I can tell. There, we have Turnitin. I can figure out if someone else has ever turned in that before. If you use information online and you don't cite it, that's plagiarism. So just be really careful, because I really don't want to have to use this policy. And this policy has been appropriated from that of James Madison University, which is located at that link. And if I didn't include that statement at the end, even though we were using with James Madison's permission, it would be plagiarism, because I was using someone else's words without properly citing them. Inappropriate papers and assignments. So anything that I consider offensive or inappropriate in attitude or content will be returned with a grade of 0. That doesn't mean you disagreed with me. You're allowed to disagree with me. If you think that my information on something, you just don't agree with it, go ahead, tell me. I love when people, give me a different perspective. I'm talking about by offensive here are things like promoting hate speech or violence, or anything like that. Anything that is actually offensive, that could be a problem for another student and isn't just heated discourse. Papers or assignments that include outside research, whether documented or not, when the assignment does not call for any, may receive a grade of 0. Again, the only assignment that requires research is the last one. So if you use outside sources other than the provided sources that I give you, you may get a 0 for that. If you don't follow the assignments instructions, you may get a 0. The easiest way to avoid that one is just follow the assignments. If I allow you makeup, it's up to me whether or not that's even an option, and if any points will be given at all, or what points will be given. Okay, so grades and evaluation. So in 102, the way that the grading structure has been created, and this is to adhere to STARS for course transfer credits, 80% must be a minimum of 4 papers. It must be the papers that are discrete and have gone through the writing process. 20% is anything else. So your 80% is your 4 major papers. And I decided to do 4 relatively long papers because given the time frame that we're working with, I thought that would be easier on you, since you have to go through the writing process with them, than trying to do, 8 to 10 shorter papers. It's a lot easier to add an extra page or 2 onto something you've already written than it is to come up with a new paper. So you're going to do a rhetorical analysis. You'll choose from some selected blog articles and determine the purpose of the piece. Then you'll analyze the techniques used by the author to ascertain whether or not the author was effective in using those techniques and explain why. You'll do a fiction analysis of approximately 4 to 5 pages. You'll choose from selected pieces of short fiction. We're only reading 3 of them. And you'll analyze specific literary devices and how they're used in the chosen story. You're going to do something very similar with drama. You'll choose from selected short works of drama and analyze a specific element of a chosen play or piece of drama and how that element impacts the audience. I've tried to keep the dramas pretty short. I didn't do any Shakespeare, any 3-hour plays. Try to keep them at 1 act, so that it'd be a little easier for you to read in the given time frame. And your final assignment, your final exam, is going to be a research proposal and annotated bibliography. And that sounds really hard, but it's not. It's going to be 4 to 6 pages, and there's more white space in this, so it actually isn't going to end up being that much more writing than the others. Because we have so little time to work with, I opted not to ask you to do a full research paper, because even if we started research the first week, a month isn't really enough time to really do a lot of good research. So instead, what you're going to do is take one of the papers that you've written earlier in the semester, so the rhetorical analysis, fiction analysis, or drama analysis, and you're going to look for sources on it, and you're going to explain how you would expand that into a research paper, and you're going to cite a handful of sources that you would use if you were to do that expansion, and you're going to cite them properly in MLA, in annotated bibliography. And I will walk you through how to do that and give you a lot of information on all 4 of these and questions and things that will help make this a lot easier for you. On that note, minor assignments Although minor assignments make up a smaller portion of the grade, they are no less important than major assignments because they're intended to help you assess your progress, determine where to focus, and walk you through the steps of the different kinds of writing that we're doing. So quizzes will be 100 points in total, and throughout the semester you'll take a series of short quizzes to help you assess your understanding of important concepts from the reading and course materials. These quizzes are open book and open note, and they're meant to help you focus. I'm not trying to, make sure that you memorized everything you read. I'm more interested in helping you remember or help you determine what you read is most important for you to remember going forward. And they're not gotcha questions. The goal here isn't, to trick you or something. Again, it's the most important things, the things that I want you to remember. Exercises, again, 100 points in totals, and we're covering a lot of material very quickly. So these exercises are meant to help walk you through each of these types of writing. So they're going to ask you questions about what you've read. They're going to ask you questions to help you form things like a thesis statement, or to help you form your topic sentence, or to help you form your paragraphs, so that you're answering these questions and then assembling the answers into an outline and an essay rather than having to write the whole essay from scratch. It makes it a little easier on you, especially given, that we don't have a whole lot of time to work with. Well, it's only 10% of your grade. It's highly recommended that you do these, because if you don't, it will be reflected in the major assignments. All the minor assignments, all the exercises are helping you build the major assignments. So you use your work from the exercises to create your major assignments. And if you don't do the exercises, then you're not doing those preliminary steps for the major assignments, and the major assignments are going to be much harder, and then that's going to reflect in your grade. So what is the breakdown? Your rhetorical analysis is 10%, it's 100 points. Fiction analysis is 20%, 200 points. Drama analysis is 200 points, 20%. The research proposal and annotated bibliography, because they do involve research, and they're a little longer, it's 300 points, 30% of your grade. Quizzes are 100 points in total, 10%. Exercises are 100 points in total, 10%. The total for this class is 1,000 points for 100%. I have decided not to require discussion boards. You already have enough to do. But this is an online course, and it can feel really, really isolating. And especially with so much work to do, it can be easy to feel overwhelmed, and to feel like you're kind of out of control, especially if you don't have a sense of community. So I'm encouraging you to use what's called a student cafe to communicate with your peers. And what this is a discussion board, but you're not being graded on it. I'm not even really looking at it unless someone tells me to look at it. It is just a space for you and your peers to talk about the class. So you can discuss assignments, you can rant, as long as it's professional. You can talk about things you're struggling with. You can talk about your day. Whatever you need to use that space for, that's fine. But be nice, be respectful, treat other people the way you would want to be treated. If someone asks a question that one of your peers can't answer, or if things are getting out of control and someone needs to step in and moderate, please let me know by sending me an email at hcompanion@jsu.edu, and I'll come in and step in and look at it then. But that's the only time I'm planning on looking at the student cafe. The rest of the time, it's just for you. It's just for you to use as you need. So it's kind of a space in Canvas that I hope will remain instructor free. Unless you want me to come in and talk, and if you want me to, then invite me in and I'll do it. Okay, so we're going to stop this one here because we are at 14 minutes. And then we will kind of go through these last couple things in the schedule in the next video. So I'll be back in just a second.